espresso machine was invented about 100 years ago, so early 1900s. Didn't really become commercialised until the 1940s. I think 1942 was the first, commercial espresso machine to hit the cafe market worldwide. It started in Italy, so the Italians actually invented by a German and commercialised, taken to the market by the Italians. So most good coffee machines today are still made in Italy. Pretty simple concept. Espresso machine, they look very technical from the outside, but basically what we do, we're using very hot water, so we don't actually put boiling water through the coffee. It's water around about 92 degrees Celsius, pushed under pressure through the coffee, so a very small amount. Why espresso became very popular was because it was, when you used to make a cup of coffee, you used to have to infuse a lot of coffee to get the flavour out of it, and it took anywhere up to 3 to 4 minutes. It's like tea, it's just a slow process. Espresso actually took it to as a 30-second process, and you could use less coffee. So basically, 7 grams of coffee could produce the same as what 30, 40 grams of coffee was doing. So it was actually cost saving. Really, espresso culture really grew after World War II because obviously coffee being a commodity got very expensive, and when the world at war, a lot of coffee routes stopped, so people could get coffee. So that's when espresso culture really come to action. We got our first espresso machine in Australia, come into Sydney, and actually a lot of people believe it come into Melbourne, but actually come into Sydney first. And it was a Greek headquarters, it wasn't Italian, so it was about 1947. But today, I'm just going to show you a little bit about the process. There's 2 bits to the system. You've got the espresso machine, which is basically going to push hot water under pressure through our coffee. The other most important part of the scenario is the grinder. We've got parameters and sciences that we use to make an espresso coffee. I'll just grab a group handle out. This is what we call the group handle. Inside we've got the filter basket, so that's where the coffee sort of sits inside there. We've got a measured amount of coffee that goes in there. This is actually a double basket, so it's going to do 2 cups of coffee or 1 very strong one. We've actually been serving everyone here for the last 3 days a very strong coffee, so basically using it, so basically 21 grams of coffee into every shot, so that's quite strong. We're doing that now also because we use Arabica coffee beans most cafes around the world. There's two coffee plants, there's a Robusta and Arabica. Robusta is mostly grown for instant coffee. It's about 4 to 5 times higher in caffeine than actually the Arabica. But the trouble with Arabica coffee is it's very mild in its flavour profile. So you actually need a lot of coffee now to achieve what you get out of a Robusta coffee. So that's our group. So that's where the coffee sits. And we put ground coffee to there. So we know the pressure of this machine is running around about 8 to 9 bars, 91 degrees temperature, with 20 grams of coffee in there. So we need to extract that coffee. The brewing time we need is around about 26 to 30 seconds. So how we vary that brewing time through that filtration process is with the grind size. So how much, so the particle size of the coffee is going to determine how quick it goes through into the cup for our espresso. Okay, so the finer the grind, the slower it pours. The coarser the grind, it will pour quicker. So we're trying to get it at about 30 seconds. So and that's why we need the grinder on demand. And also coffee is what we call hygroscopic. It actually absorbs the outside atmosphere really quickly. So when we grind coffee, it starts to deteriorate instantly. So basically ground coffee will only last about a minute. Beans last about 5 to 6 weeks if it's kept in the bag and protected. So ground coffee will actually deteriorate within a minute. So that's why we have the machine beside the grinder. We call it a dose grinder. So we're dosing it to suit. So what we do is grind on demand. So we'll do that. So Jeremy's grind me off a shot there. I'm just going to show you. We'll hand tamper. We'll bring the tamper around. So we actually, Jeremy, bring it around the corner for me. So here we go. We've got our food basket. It's made a little hill, so when we fill it in, because it's lightly packed, it's actually just sitting there loosely. We need to tamp it down. Why we tamp it down is we want a nice flat surface for the hot water under pressure to go evenly over the top of the coffee. Because inside what we call the group head with it's clipped into, we actually have a shower screen. It's going to disperse the water evenly, around about 8 bars of pressure. So it's like fairly high pressure. It's probably around about 150 psi. So it is high pressure. So what we do, we tamp. So put that on the edge there. Tamp's nice, a nice flat surface. We push down, elbow in the air, push down nice and straight, and spin it around. It's about 15 kilograms of pressure. And that's what we worked out. So the science is that's what it's nice and firm. Coffee won't come out. It actually sits in. So I'll extract that. So Jeremy will shoot into put it into the machine around the side here. We'll extract it in. We'll just split it off into 2 shots. Bring it around. I'm just going to show you. So it should take 26 of it. It should come out like a nice. If you want to come around and have a look, if you want to come, I'm going to pick someone out to actually make a coffee in a second. It should come out like a mouse's tail. So it's nice. We've got top of the mouse and the mouse's tail. So it comes out a nice thin stream. Doesn't break. Doesn't drip out of the espresso machine.
Interesting.
There we've got. So basically, that's our espresso. Yeah. So take it. So just to show everyone, I'm going to give back to you. So you see it's nice and golden brown. With espresso, it's fairly highly concentrated. A lot of people when they drink espresso, they'll have a taste and they'll go, yuck, I don't like that. But what I always suggest to people when they're trying espresso for the first time, have a mouthful, get your tongue and swirl all the way around and you'll get that coating. Then have that second sip, and that second sip actually when you'll start tasting the flavours. So you want to try that?
I always found it very, very strong for me.
Roll you around. Now when you start, as it cools off, it'll start to taste a lot nicer as well. So you'll get that sweetness. You should get a little bit of fruitiness. And start tasting flavour profiles. Sorry? Fruity aftertaste, yeah. Coffee's always going to be a bit bitter because it's acidic. Okay? And when we roast coffee, we're roasting to a bit lighter profile than we traditionally did with Italian espresso. So we want that acidity, especially in Australia where we use a lot of our coffee with milk. So we need that acidity to cut through that, so flavour the coffee cuts through the milk. Also with espresso, a lot of flavour profiles. One origin of coffee can have anywhere between 15 to 2,000 flavour profiles. So if you get a glass of wine, you've got about 60 to 80 flavour profiles. So coffee is very, very complex. And people don't realise that this is a really complex product. We find that when we try and explain to people, what they like, you've got to sort of look at what they eat, what wines they drink, what their favourite beer is. If they like an IPA and it's hoppy, we'll try and give them coffees that have got those fruit notes as well. They might like a wine. So when we try and steer it, and say cafe into buying a blend or an origin coffee, we try and steer them into what their preferences are. One of the projects I run the Golden Beans, which is now the largest coffee roasting competition in the world. So we run the world competition for the roasters, basically we're like sampling winemakers. So we take them on this journey. And what we find every year we do the Golden Bean, we've been doing it now for 12 years, is we find that there's certain coffees that are on trend. And at the moment it's Ethiopian naturals because they're very fruity. People have gone away from the savoury notes from the Colombian and Brazil coffee used to have. People are going more towards the traditional flavours of coffee, which is the birthplace of coffee, it's Ethiopia. Amazing coffees. There's a coffee called the Yirgacheffe from Ethiopia, and that's probably been the benchmark for how coffee should taste. But we lost it for a long, long time because people, countries like Brazil and Colombia, whose whole economy survived around, growing coffee, grew these coffees that were, grew in that climate, grew in that agricultural space, but they steered a long way away from the original flavour. So people have got used to a certain flavour. Now we're taking them back on that journey. So I find my favourite coffees are actually ones that are close grown to Australia, like PNG, Papua New Guinea. When you taste their coffees, they're fruity. They got a lot of dark chocolate. They're sweet. I think most people when they try and have anything in the beverage game, they like that sweetness. So it brings people back. We're all sugar addicts. So, and there's a lot of natural sugar in the coffee. When we roast the coffee, actually we're caramelising the beans, so you actually bring out those natural sugars. So it's a real process. We worked out there's about it goes when they're from the farming, from when the crop is planted to when we get into the consumer in the cafe. There's about 200 hands that actually touch that coffee bean along the way. So it's quite it's a very labour-intensive process. And a lot of people, I really have learned to respect the pot. One, it's made me a very good income over the years, but it's been a big journey to see that whole process. The coffee that you've been drinking over the last 2 days, it comes from 50% of it comes from a farm in India that we've been part of. We've helped establish that farm. That was actually going backwards when we first met the people because they were losing a lot of their labour forces to the cities. The kids didn't want to be part of the farm anymore, so we've tried to encourage people to stay and work on the properties now. We don't bang our drum and say we're doing this great ethical project, but we know ourselves as a business. We've done something to maintain an industry that's been very kind to us. So that's enough for me talking. Who wants to try and make an espresso coffee?